It's me again.
Sino I am?
You okay?
Got another Chaos Knight rep versus Stark Angels. Let's crack straight on with the army rosters. What's going on? Why hasn't the slide moved on? Well, you may have noticed that Chaplain looking a little odd. That's because he's actually just 3 yellow tokens in a row.
NANI?
My opponent only brought this list, and forgot the Chaplain, and we didn't have anything else we could use to proxy him, so there you go. I'll try to Photoshop something over the yellow bases wherever possible. All complaints regarding this will be given the utmost attention.
It's called the waste paper basket.
K. Mission stats and shiz. We're playing Sweep and Clear, which is the one where you deploy in opposite quarters and can't deploy within 9 inches of the center. For secondaries, I took Direct Assault, which is the mission-specific one, Engage, and Grind them down. DA took Direct Assault, Oaths of Moment, and Bring it down. Direct Assault gives you 3 for controlling the central objective or your opponent's objective, or 5 for controlling both. As with my first game with Knights, against Custodes, I struggled to pick 3 secondaries which were anything other than absolutely terrible, while the opposing army was spoiled for choice.
I'm just saying.
Here's deployment. By the way, we're playing at the games table in Norwich, and the board and terrain was provided by the store. You can see my deployment clearly enough, but I'll just talk about my list for a second in case you didn't pay attention during the roster section.
Punk ass motherfucker, you punk ass!
I'm trying a slightly different list to previously. I still have 3 War Dogs, but I swapped out one of the Despoilers for a Rampager. No Relic Gauntlet, instead I went for Cornate Target, which can turn off invulnerables in combat for 1 fight phase. I also have an Avenger Gatling Cannon and Thermal Cannon on the Despoiler, which is a different loadout to before. Here's a better view of the Dark Angels. His 10 Hellblasters, Blade Guard, and most characters are hiding out of sight right at the back behind the huge rock. Termies and Intercessors are further forward, ready to storm the center. The Plasma Scepters are in deep strike. His Incursors or whatever are deployed hidden behind this big rock. I think the only other thing to mention is that all the large pieces of rock count as obscuring, and the foliage is dense cover. Right, we're over 3 minutes already, what the frick am I doing? Let's get on with the report. I get the first turn. I move like so. The Rampager moves and advances way up the top so that it can hopefully charge the Incursors. The War Dogs move to get engaged and another objective. I think both of those moves are a mistake, especially the War Dogs. What I for some reason am not taking account of is the fact that his Assault Hellblasters only have 24-inch guns. I think I should have foregone engage this turn in favor of keeping out of range, which would almost certainly guarantee me grind them down this turn. I'm also not mad on pulling the Rampager away, but he's the only one who can take out the Incursors, and I see them as an easy kill.
Done something wrong again, haven't I?
Oh, and as for why I haven't just barreled towards the center, I see that as just throwing a knight away at the moment, as I'm fairly certain the Terminators can muller a knight in 1 round of combat on their own. In shooting, the Tyrant tries to take out the
Eradicators,
which it can just about see, but it only kills a single one. It just completely whiffs. It's a whiffer.
I know
Whiffers.
when I see them, and
So I start to panic a little about potentially not even killing any units this turn. I had wanted to start chipping away at the Termies, but opt for a safer bet instead, and wipe out the 5 Intercessors in front of them with my Despoiler. The Warglaives do buggery squat, and then it's charge time. I can't be asked to find the sound clip, whatever. So the Rampager full tilts and charges into the Incursors. They transhuman, and with his 18 attacks he does just enough wounds to destroy them.
I went, whew, I made it.
So as I chickened out of rushing forward to score Direct Assault this turn, I just get 2 points from Engage on all fronts. His Hellblasters come out from behind the rock, and the Blade Guard advance towards the bottom right objective. The Terminators plod forward to stake their claim on the central objective. The Apothecary resurrects the slain Eradicator, obviously. In Psychic, I don't know what happens. In Shooting, his Hellblasters split fire against the Warglaves, and destroy both of them.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
Although they're only strength 7, they get some kind of +1 to wound for targeting one of the Warglaves. They do 3 damage per shot with the Plasma Strat, have 3 shots each, and have rerolls out the wazoo. I was expecting to lose one of them, but was dismayed to see them both crumple under the sheer weight of firepower. Not only does that give DA 4 points for bring it down, it disastrously strips me of my potential grind them down points too. I do get a slight reprieve elsewhere, though, as the Eradicators roll shockingly poorly and I lose just 1 wound on the Despoiler. This is the first time we've gotten a decent look at it with its new loadout. You can see I've also finally painted the faceplates, in a white and gold scheme. This puts DA up to a shocking total of 11 at the end of turn 1.
These go to 11.
Look, I find it as grating as the next person when people moan about the rules, and I really try not to do it, but don't you think Oaths of Moment is just a silly secondary? I think the part that annoys me is how you get a point for not falling back and not failing a morale test, even if there was no opportunity to do either of those things. That part just seems janky. Okay, rant over, it's not really a big deal. My turn 2. I'm on 2 objectives, so score 10 for primaries. The Helverin runs around to score my engage points this turn. Here's the thought process explaining my movement this phase. I have 2 problems, really, the Terminators guarding the center, and the Hellblasters at the back, out of shot. I don't feel that I have enough firepower to sufficiently deal with both units in one turn. Do note that the Hellblasters are pretty much just as difficult to deal with as the Terminators, as they are protected by a bubble 4+ invulnerable, and as the most dangerous unit they will always get transhuman if I shoot them. If I move a knight forward at this stage, again it will just get blown away next turn by the Hellblasters. So, logically, I need to remove the Terminators first, then next turn I can start focusing down the Hellblasters. If you think I have any better options, do let me know in the comments.
What is your great strategy for dealing with this? Come on, I mean, I'm fucking all ears.
If I hadn't sent the friggin' Rampager to deal with the Incursors last turn, it might have been in range to charge the Terminators and use Coronate target, but it's too far away. Anyway, in Shooting, Mr. Whiffy McQuiff face whiffs again. I believe this is one of his wound rolls against the Termies. Useless. My shooting from the Despoiler sucks too. I can't remember exactly what it did, but I have 2 shots of different rolls of Snake Eyes.
Boy, these are really bad details.
Sorry, the game was a couple of weeks ago. Anyway, the depressing final result is that when the dust settles there's still 1 Terminator left. So I go up to 14 points. The Rampager keeping its toes on the top left objective was really necessary, I feel, and it couldn't have really gone much further anyway, so I didn't sacrifice much movement on it. Dark Angel's turn 2. The Blade Guard fan out and reach the bottom right objective. The Hellblaster Deathball presses forwards. The Plasma Scepters come down here behind a rock. The Apothecary brings back a Terminator.
This is getting out of hand. Now there are 2 of them.
I know I said I'd try and Photoshop something over the yellow bases which indicate the bike chaplain, but I really can't be asked. Well, maybe just this once.
Have you heard he's on his way? I've been counting down the days. Finally we'll have some fun. He's got hugs for everyone.
What the hell is even that?
Here's a shot of the whole table, and here's a closer look at the Hellblaster and character Deathball. In Psychic, I think Ezekiel is in quite a forward position, near the Termies, and is just within 12 inches of the Rampager. He puts Mindworm onto the Rampager. He then takes 6 wounds off the Helverin in Shooting, and also does quite a few more wounds to the Rampager, leaving it on 13. So they didn't kill anything this turn, but they continue to reap the direct assault rewards, and even get another 3 for Oaths, putting them up to 27. This is the make or break turn now. I'm getting pasted on the secondaries and haven't been able to punch through the center yet. I also haven't dealt with either of the scary units. In movement, the Tyrant moves on to the top left objective so that it can swap places with the Rampager, freeing the Rampager up to threaten the center. The Helverin doesn't fancy getting chopped up by the Blade Guard, so it has to beat a retreat and abandon engage on all fronts this turn. The Despoiler has to hang back to stay on the objective. And anyway, due to the narrow pass in the center, Only one knight can physically fit through anyway, so there's no point sending the despoiler forwards yet. Here's the standoff in the center. In shooting, the despoiler can draw a bead on the plasma inceptors, and manages to kill all of them.
My man.
The tyrant then tries to whittle down the Hellblaster some more, but continues its swiffery, indicated by this dice roll that I felt compelled to photograph. It does take out a few, though, which actually turns out to be really bad, as they all roll their 4+ to fire on death thanks to the Ancient, and they end up doing a bunch of wounds to the Rampager. I think you can see where this is going. So, even though the Rampager is quite badly wounded, I now see no options but to charge it into the Terminators anyway and hope that he survives their attacks.
That's just horrible.
Well, it doesn't pan out. The Terminators muller him before he can strike. My only comment on this, other than that my previous bad decisions forced me into this horrible situation, is that I think the inbuilt rerolls to wound the Deathwing have is. But then, I would say that, as they just mullered my knight. I think a better plan would have been to put all my shooting into the Terminators to hopefully kill them, then have the Rampager charge and kill the two characters behind them. It would have died next turn, but at least the center would have been blown open. A weak turn 3 with no points at all for secondary sends me well on my way into a death spiral, then. Here's Dark Angel's turn 3 after movement, and I have to admit it's pretty epic seeing them fortifying the pass, like a scene from 300 or something. Another Terminator gets revived, so they're up to 3 now.
The longer I leave my enemies alone, the stronger they become.
I don't think there's a lot to be gained now from going over a blow by blow of every little thing that happens in the following 2 turns, as you've seen the main thrust of the battle, namely, that Dark Angels successfully defended the narrow pass at the center, weathering most of my shooting. I'll just cover the main events of the next couple of turns, and then we'll go on to the final score sheet. I then continue to chip away at some of the backfield units, taking damage in return due to the friggin' Ancient Spanner. Due to the position of the Terminators, I'm then able to charge both knights into them, and even though one of my knights is mind-wormed again, the other one is able to river dance on the Terminators and finally friggin' finish off the unit. Good riddance. In their turn 4, there's very little movement from the Dark Angels, and they just destroy my despoiler. The Blade Guard veterans abandon the objective in the backfield and start frantically sprinting towards the center to plug the gap, but they're too far away this turn. In my turn 5, I think we realize Dark Angels are gonna max out on their secondaries if they can kill all my knights, so I sneakily send my Helverin all the way into my back corner and hide it behind a rock, purely to deny max points to my opponent.
Sorry.
The Tyrant then has a bit of a last gasp field day in the center, though. In shooting, it judiciously splits fire and kills Ezekiel, the Yellow Token Chaplain, and one Eradicator, and then it charges and kills the Apothecary and the last Eradicator. Not bad at all by my reckoning, and it means I finally score some friggin' points for direct assault, and I'm guaranteed to score grind them down this turn as well. At least I won't score nothing at all for those secondaries then. In DA turn 5, they soften the Tyrant up a bit in shooting, then charge in the Blade Guard vets. This picture looks so epic to me. I thought I might survive, as they're only strength 5, but then I remembered they have their inbuilt rerolls to wound. They muller the Tyrant with ease, and stand firm on the central objective. At least I still have my cowardly Wardog left. Anyway, that ends the game. Here's the final score sheet. I've just filled out the final totals in black rather than color coding for each turn, as I skipped over the previous sheets. A crushing 98-55 victory for the Space Marines. So you can see that DA maxed out everything except for those last 2 points for Bring It Down. Ha! On my side, my score is artificially higher than you'd probably expect, as I got 35 for primaries, as Dark Angels never even ventured into my side of the table, except for the ill-fated incursors, so I was able to score primaries well enough. So not a great showing for the Knights, and everything I tried on the table felt kind of ineffectual and suboptimal compared to the DA which were able to easily score their secondaries. Note also that my opponent is using what's probably considered a fairly friendly DA list as far as DA go. No Raven Wing and not leaning heavily into Deathwing, and it still felt very oppressive. So the question is, what should my game plan have been? Do you think there were better secondaries I could have taken? 'Cause I sure as heck didn't see any. Looking at the initial setup, it seems to me that I should have been going for a pincer attack either here and here, or here and here, with the big knights, but I allowed myself to just get funneled into the center. I still enjoyed getting another battle in with my knights, and hopefully I'll get more out of them in future. My next report will be Custodes versus Custodes. That's right, it's the Blood Games. Anyway, thanks to my opponent for the great game, and thanks to you for watching it. Please like, comment, subscribe, and all that shiz. Goodbye.
Have you heard he's on his way? I've been counting down the days. Finally, we'll have some fun. He's got hugs for everyone.
Hello there.
What the hell?